Today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about a new series of messages that I have just begun in our morning services at 10:30 on the Gospel of Matthew. Yet we realize that God used four authors, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, to write an account of the life of Jesus in four different ways. And in our church, we've been through the Gospel of Mark and the Gospel of John. So I thought it might be helpful for us to spend some time in the Gospel of Matthew. What a different book the Gospel of Matthew is from Mark and Luke and John. We know it's the first book in the New Testament, not necessarily the first book written in our New Testament, but when they put the New Testament together, they placed Matthew at the beginning. Now, I think the reason for that is because it is such a good bridge between the Old Testament and what we call the New Testament. It is such a great bridge because the theme of the book of the Gospel of Matthew is Jesus is king, and he has a kingdom that he will eventually establish. And in the Gospel of Matthew, the writer, Matthew, he's going to quote or allude to over 100 Old Testament passages. When you realize that, you recognize the fact that for the reader of the Gospel of Matthew, we need to be somewhat in tune with the Old Testament. Certainly his audience, the Jews, were very aware of it. So Matthew spends time developing the theme that Jesus who came is in fact the Messiah that was promised. And so on Sunday mornings, we're going to be looking at this great gospel. We're going to be looking at the pedigree of the king. We're going to be looking at the preaching of the king. We're going to be looking at the prophecies of the king and just so many things related to the whole matter of Jesus as the king and his eventual sitting on the throne of David, ruling and reigning planet Earth, specifically ruling and reigning the nation of Israel in the millennium. So I want to just encourage you to join us on Sunday mornings at 10:30. I think you'll appreciate Matthew's gospel. I think you'll learn a lot about the life of Christ, and you will learn principles for life in our day and age. One of the things that strikes me in the Gospel of Matthew is we see God's sovereign hand moving in the history of mankind. And in our day and age, we sometimes feel like it's all chaos and we wonder where everything's going. Well, the one thing we know is all of history, including today, is going to move towards the focal point of the coming of the Lord Jesus Christ and the establishment of his kingdom on earth in fulfillment of Old Testament prophecy. So join us if you can. And I want to take just 1 minute to let you know we have a 5 o'clock evening service, and I've begun a series on Sunday nights that I've entitled Timeless Topics and Timely Topics, and Timeless Truth. And I would encourage you to come join us. We're going to talk about the matter of thinking Christianly in a world that, again, has gone so far from the Bible. 5 o'clock evening services, we'd love to have you here with us. So if you would join us on Sunday mornings at 10:30 for our study of the Gospel of Matthew, Sunday nights at 5 o'clock, our study of the timely topics and timeless truth, we would be encouraged by your presence. Thank you very much.